We're up over 200 pips from our last public swing trading 4-hour experiment video done less than 2 weeks ago. Those two pairs still have plenty of room to run. And as a special call tonight, we've got a couple of more pairs to look over as we're letting those kind of continue to run through. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jenny Baker, and for those of y'all who don't know, this is the Six-Figure Trading Coach public swing trading experiment. The whole purpose of this call is really just to show you that with reasonable management and a consistent strategy, trading is as easy as you make it on yourself. So tonight, we're going to kind of throw off our schedule a little bit. We typically do this about every other Tuesday, but next week and the week after that, I will be in Europe, so I will not be making videos. So we're going to go ahead and add our next two trades now and allow the other ones to continue to run. So I'm kind of excited. Of course, before we go any further, we have to do the disclaimer that says don't trade what you can't afford to lose. Obviously, it's not financial, legal, investment advice. You guys know all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. We're good. So, broker change, because I don't want any more problems. We had another person in our class today who was awesome enough to kind of volunteer some new information too, that they're having some emails about MT4 license issues or MT4 issues of some kind with other brokers, not just Hugo's Way. So, I'll say this and I'll say it again and again and again. I am 100% for having a multitude of different broker accounts. I like to be well spread out, but I also maintain my relationships long term. So this is the link tree to every single broker that I work with. I'm reasonably sure it's pretty updated. I think there's a couple that are not on there, but I'm still maintaining my account with Hero, AFX, LQD, NV, right? I'm still with all of those brokers, and I will maintain to be so. Henko as well. Liquid is a little bit newer, but every one of those brokers are withdrawing and they are still functioning in terms of MT4. For those of y'all who don't know, MT5 is definitely not something to be overlooking at this point with everything we're seeing in the brokers. So of course, had to at least cover that yet again. And because we're in the process of switching brokers for the purpose of our classes in the morning in our private community, as well as what we're doing publicly, I maintain the valuation and calculation of your PIP is going to be broker dependent, country dependent, base currency dependent, and a whole bunch of other things dependent. So please know that when we say PIPs, we were referencing across the board Hugo's Way measurement. Now, of course, we're switching over to Hero, so we're going to maintain the same calculations, but just so everyone knows, because it is a huge difference, right? Some brokers do micro lots, so it looks like 20 pips instead of 200 pips, right? There's so many different variations. So just got to keep that all on the up and up. Now let's go take a look at the couple of pairs. Let's see. Actually, let's go ahead and show this first. So a couple of awesome, exciting things that we've got on our agenda. First off, we looked at GU and CAD Chef. GU took off amazingly. Now, granted, we're in a pullback right now. I'm still looking at the long-term picture of that continuing to go to the upside, period, across the board. You'll notice that thus far, we're up over 269 pips. That risk to reward is posted here based off of where the stop loss was, right? And we have that all predefined, right? You're protecting within about 1 ATR on the 4-hour time frame. And if you're not familiar with ATR, then do 25 to 50 pips, anywhere in that range, because they're different from pair to pair. But that's a pretty good starting place, for the 4-hour time frame. You're always protecting. So that once that pair reaches that amount, in theory, you have scaled, trailed, protected, locked your profit in some way, shape, or another. We use a lot of automatic management and EAs to kind of do stuff like that. But of course, you can do it at your own and follow along with these trades in your demo account, your paper trading, real trading, and just see, if I did this for 6 months, what would that equal in my life? That's the only purpose here, is to show you how consistent this can be, including losses. So I hate when I say this because it's like kicking myself in the butt, but I'm going to say it anyways. We've had this nice run of wins. That tells me there's a loss coming, okay? I know that I, for the most part, maintain that high 80s, low 90% average. So if I know that, I'm not going to be all shocked and bruised and shaken when I get some losses spread in here. They're coming, right? Probably shouldn't say that. Knock on wood. That's glass. Hold on. Knock on wood. But this is the markets, and it's going to be what it's going to be. So we do the best we can to make our analysis good and long-lasting. But so far, 269. These two we're going to keep running. So notice how I put this field here, and we're going to take our next two trades today. So this is also going to be technically week 14. I'll have to change that setting a little bit, but let's see. That's where we're at. So currently we're up to over 15,000 pips. Not a bad way to be. Here's what that looks like monetarily. Here's what this looks like if your account is, let's say, $500 and you're risking 1%. This is about where you should be. And actually, I've got a really awesome person who he gets all the brownie points in the entire world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He's been using these trade ideas on a prop firm challenge to give you an idea. And he showed kind of his results, his win, or some kind of account. Don't quote me on what kind of account. But his win rate, his growth, his percentages, and we've got a screenshot of that as well, just to show, hey, what this is actually doing, what's possible, right? But needless to say, if you're trading your own personally funded money, you have $1,000, you're risking 1%, this is approximately what your account could be at. Mind you, CAD continued another several hundred pips. We didn't continue to track. EuroCAD continued another several thousand pips. We had, NZDCHF, we caught all of that move. Quite a few of these pairs have continued to move far beyond just this target. Now, some of them don't. Some of them only hit that first baby area and they weren't ready, or they were just a small retracement play versus kind of that more longer term position, and that's okay. But many of these pairs have moved vastly beyond just the pips that we are counting after 2 weeks. So this is after 14 days at a max. We're not counting beyond that. And if you want proof of that, go back and take a look at this pair on this day or the video on YouTube. They should be linked at the back of this, or there's a playlist on YouTube you can go check. Go take a look at NZDCHF. All of that stuff. You'll be completely amazed at how many more pips from where these entry points were on that video to how many more pips it's actually moved since discussing it. Now, granted, you have to either re-enter on a pullback if you're closing on the way out, or scale out on the way up, and then you can scale back in as you pull back. There's so many different ways to do this kind of stuff. But that's all I've got here. I'm going to hit stop share. Just had to show real quick the gentleman that we were talking about saying, hey, he's taking all the 4-hour trades from the public videos in the last couple of weeks, right? This is what they've accomplished. So this is not my results. This is somebody else's saying, hey, it's possible. And that's what I'm hoping these YouTube public videos are doing for people, is just to show them, wait a minute, let me get out of my head, get out of my overthinking, my over trading, my over leveraging, my over decision making, and just make a good decision and just see how this plays out, right? It'll take you a couple of minutes, twice a month, a couple times a month, minimal management, depending on what you're doing in between, and see how it plays out. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to run into problems and things you didn't expect and things that you didn't foresee, but just see. And that's really the whole point of this experiment. But that's what we're doing. And of course, we had a couple people saying, hey, thanks for the golden strategy. Had to copy and paste that real quick because, well, hello, that's what we're using. I'm using the same strategy on my entries in the mornings that I do in my community that I'm using on these. I'm just doing it on a smaller time frame with more of indices, and I'm doing a lot more naked, technical analysis than I'm, implying here on these public YouTubes. It's all the same thing. So the strategy is just for an entry. You still got to know a little bit about price. You still got to be able to see a little bit. And then what's possible is crazy. So on that note, I would be remiss if I did not mention you can hear the smile in my voice, but we're literally a couple of thousand pips away from 1 million pips. Now, we started that goal years ago. So this is a couple of years into it. Every one of these are trade ideas that are recorded live as a community, signals, whatever you want to call them. But every single one of these are accounted for. Every single one of them. That's 1 million pips that we've accomplished as a team, as a community, that I've called out personally as trade ideas on these live trading sessions in the private community. And that's just awesome. To give you an idea of what that's worth, remember, most of the lot size, because most of them are indices, not all of them are about $1 a pip. I mean, that's the smallest you can go. Now, granted, you can also make them, $10 a pip. You can make them $100 a pip for that matter. But the minimum for the most part on most brokers, and I know there are other factors, is $1 per pip. And we've accomplished almost 1 million pips in, I believe that's about 2.5 years, but we'll get back to that once we finally settle in on 1 million. That's all what we've been doing in our community, and I'm so excited for what's to come. I had this big milestone, and we're hitting it. And actually, when we hit it, I'm going to be in Italy, so that's super exciting too. So I'm sharing that with you, and now let's go look at our couple of pairs. We remember we are in GU and CAD Chef, and we've got 2 more on the table. Okay, so I suppose we're going to start with the 2 that we're already in. So this is where we're at on GBPUSD. This is when we entered. Yes, we had to survive a pullback. This was NFP week. But man, when we moved, we moved. Now, some of us have caught several portions of this play. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit ugly. We're going to go to the daily time frame. We've got our impulse. So I don't mind this pullback. I'm still looking for quite a bit of a move to the upside. To give you an idea where price is currently at, right? We already came up to retest this previous low, right? We already retested that area. looking to pull our next wave and come all the way back up into this area. So to tell you how many pips that is, from here, that's another 300-400. Granted, from where we're currently at, I'm looking for more closer to another 300, because I usually go on the safer side and then see how we react in this area and see how we react in this area before I make those further decisions. But big time frame stuff, we've got room to play, and this has room to pay. This trade, provided it plays out right, is enough to change your life in the next, whatever, X amount of weeks, depending on how much you're risking and how many times you're re-entering on pullbacks. If you're scaling out this one trade, if you're tracking it and coming back to the 1 hour, the 4 hour time frame, it's crazy to know what's possible. So that's GU. Yes, we're going to keep it running. So this is going to be up. We're going to have some blue ones and some purple ones this time. So it'll be a little different, but we'll come back to norm here in a few weeks. CAD Chef, here's where we're at. Let me go back to our 4 hour time frame. We're staying consistent. The purpose of the consistency isn't to say that, oh, it only works on the 4 hour. Oh, it only works on Tuesday night. No, the purpose of the consistency is to say it's not subjective. It's not, well, Jenny said, or some YouTube person or whatever. It's, if I did this over and over again, it's been the same thing. It's predefined stop losses, predefined when you're exiting or how you're managing your take profits. It's all predefined, no matter how you look at it. So there's no subjectivity. So 4 hour time frame, we're not bouncing around. We took this buy. We did make this nice, strong wick rejection, but we did pull down pretty hard. We failed to make lower lows and stay below. Of course, we pushed up. This one has a really low ATR, but on the 4 hour time frame, the ATR is what, 36 pips? So this moved a little bit over 2 ATR to give us an idea. 42 pips, I think, is what I have down. 42, not 43 or 44. I've got 42. Needless to say, we've made our impulse. We've retested the 50, made it again. We're sitting at an area of interest, and now we're pulling back down. I don't know that this is going to pull down one more level before we continue, but same thing. Let's pop up a little bit. Look at this nice, perfect steamy move. So we've retested, right? We've broken through. This is a daily time frame. We were only bouncing off the 50. I don't mind the retest as long as we don't break and close below this low. I'm looking to continue to buy this up. So I'm going to keep tracking this for another 2 weeks, and we're going to come back to it and say, hey, how is this doing? What's going on? So that's our review, and in this case, continuation of the trades we looked at last week, being 7 days ago. Now, today, before I go on, actually, I have to. It's just a thing. It's trading. We tracked all these CAD pairs, all of them. This is the daily time frame. Man. So some of these are not recorded for, but we only got this much of them because that's where we stopped tracking. This whole move has played out beautifully. Beautifully. So they've all played out really, really well. That's the CAD pairs. This week, I love where a lot of these pairs are sitting, but not a lot of them are setting up perfectly on the 4 hour time frame, and I'm trying to stay true to form. So for that reason, I'm not going to be calling some of those continuations that we know are super, super good, just so you guys know. And that includes NZDCHF, which I think is pulling back, but looking for that much bigger move to the upside if I can find it. I did not pre-market because I didn't want to get distracted. Hold on. NZDCHF. I promise it's here. Just don't know where. Every broker, this is organized slightly differently. So here's where we're at. We got our pullback. We do have a nice little double top forming. This is our daily. We caught this trade. We caught this trade actually twice. This still has quite a bit of room to the upside. So if you're not in this and you're looking for an entry, pop down to the smaller time frames. I'm looking at continuation of this buy. But we're not calling it as an idea for this particular video, but just something to keep your eye on because I'm in it. I'm excited about it. I'm carrying over quite a few lots in this, and all protected, of course. And we got one little re-entry. I was hoping for more, but did not get more. So that goes for there. Let's talk about the 2 purple ones we have on board. So these are for today. Here's where we're at. 4 hour time frame. We've got our 4 hour signal. So we've got our impulse. We've corrected and retested the 50. This is the 4 hour time frame. So now I'm going to mark up again, staying true to form. The candle prior to the one that we're on. Before I even go any further, I'm going to pop up. This is the daily. So mind you, there's a bit of a double bottom, but I'm not looking at this as the huge, huge play that I'm looking to hold for weeks and weeks, like we've seen on some of the other pairs. This is a nice play that's going to get me a couple of ATR, ADR, and that's all I'm looking for. So there's a difference here. This has a lot of downside potential, in my opinion. So that's the weekly, that's the daily. Just looking to come retest some of these zones. If we break this high, I'm looking to pay off that measured move of the double bottom, which is still only going to put us into this range. So figure this is the daily view. Looking for that easy 100 pips. If we're doing the measured move, we're looking for about that 350-ish into this low, or of course this little void we've got here. That's it. Not looking for the huge, hey, this has got a huge room to run like we are on the NZD pairs, for example. So just to put the full disclaimer up. But here's where we're at to say, hey, does the strategy work? This is the strategy. This is where we got our trade idea because this is when the conditions are met. That happened here. We got the continuation and now we've got the retest. So as an active entry, so when I hang up on this call, I'm going to place my entry. I'm not going to make a perforated line. I'm going to make a solid line. So I'm buying this pair. Buying it, green line, solid, right now, right now. I'm going to solidify that so I can't accidentally manipulate the line. And there you go. The ATR on this for the 4 hours is 53 pips. So you're protecting within that 53 pips. That's only going to give you into this range. That's it. That means no matter what, when we come up to this high, you're making some kind of actionable decision to lock your profit, scale out of some of your profit, show your profit, but some kind of decision. If you're unfamiliar with ATR, consider using risk to reward or pips, but any of those, starting with where you are, kind of prosper where you're planted, any of those will work okay. But that's GBPAUD. Looking for the buy. Figure, like I said, you're protecting within 50 pips. We're looking into this first range, which is 197-ish pips into here. If we break this high, which means we break with full body candles and we retest above this zone, I'm looking for the rest of that couple hundred pips. If we do not break above and we stay within this range, cool, no problem. We're going to look to exit that trade and not re-enter it. Otherwise, I'm looking to play out this whole move and measured move style. That's 450. So from the break, that's going to break even this high. It's going to bring us all the way up into this little lower. It's going to break into here. So we'll be looking to test this area. Now that's going to take some time. That's not going to happen overnight. We've consolidated for a long time. We've just kind of stayed pretty flat. We went up, we went down, we stayed all around, but we really didn't go nowhere all of October. All of October, really. So now we're getting that impulse. I'd like to see GBP get a lot stronger. That's GBPAUD for the buy, 4 hour time frame. Ta-da! NZDCHF. Last but not least. I have to say we've got 1, 2, a whole nother pullback potentially coming. So how you manage this is going to be crucial. I'm going to again go all the way up to the daily because we looked at this pair on more than one occasion. In our earlier community, of course, I missed one of the re-entries because I took one of the entries here, missed CAD, then I got the CAD and missed the entry here because it can only be in so many NZD pairs at once, right? Here's where we're sitting on the daily time frame. Beautiful move. We did come perfectly into that zone. We're retesting. I think we have a little bit more of a pullback still. That's potentially possible. And this is the daily time frame. We're just analyzing for a second. So if you're not willing to sit through that many pips, then wait and set alerts. You don't have to enter at the exact same time. But here's our 4 hour trade idea. We've got our retest of our 50. We're in neutral territory. And while we don't have the actual arrow yet, we do have the conditions met. The arrow will paint when it paints. It's actually usually a candle late because it's a custom indicator. 1 to 2 candles late, more accurately. But on this one, what I'm waiting for is the continuation of. So we're really sitting pretty close to the wick of this candle. And we're sitting on a doji as is. So I really want this to continue to the upside. So what I'm going to look for is above and beyond this area. So this is going to be a pending order. So that means if price continues to push down, I'm not going to be in yet. I'm only going to be in when we break above this area. That's it. Ta-da! That's it. So NZDCHF, I'm looking for the buy. Big time frame stuff, this has a boatload of room. A ton. I'm going to wait to the weekly. I went so high that my computer was like, no thank you. First of all, from where we're at, even up into this range, you've got another 100-ish pips on a pair that does not move that much, okay? So to give you an idea, that's 2 ADR. Beyond that, I'm looking for price to come all the way up into this range from where we're currently sitting, which is only 460. But mind you, the value of this pair is a little bit higher than it is on the USD pair. Way higher than it is on GBPAUD. The value of this is 11.11 per standard, on this broker particularly. The value of this is what? $6.43. But again, 1% is 1%. You should have some way of calculating the lot size based off of the pair you're on and the time frame you're trading and how you're managing. You can see that our little golden strategy does that. To give you an idea, based off of this time frame and this management, if I wanted to be risking that percentage that I have to set in on, this would be my lot size, right? This is GBPAUD. It's 44 standards on this particular account. If I was on NZD, same time frame, notice how that changes? Because 1% is 1% on whatever pair you're trading. But I digress. I don't mind this pulling down a smidge. So back to the 4 hour. In fact, I think it's going to. But I want this to be present or be ready. So for those of y'all who are going to use a pending, I don't mind this coming down another leg. And I may be able to make a video in that time, but I'm not going to promise to that because I'm not going to be present. I'm looking for this move. So I don't mind the pullback. I don't mind at all as long as, again, we're not breaking this low. I'm still looking for that longer term buy. And obviously, if I'm present during this area, I'll put a public thing on YouTube. Otherwise, I'm going to keep that as is because we are retesting that 4 hour 50 beautifully. And if we're breaking out now, I'm going with it now. And I'm going to take it for all it's worth. We're going to take it the ride with it, and that's that. But I hope you guys all have a super happy Tuesday, an amazing week. My team is going to have some cool things coming, hopefully, that they're going to be releasing. And I know that the staff behind the scenes are doing all kinds of fancy stuff with TikTok and all the other things that I'm like, no thank you to. So I'm super grateful for them. Please make sure you're checking that out. If you're unfamiliar with anything we're doing, go to the YouTube description. Everything that we work with in terms of our own, company and community is there, as well as any of the social media handles. And as always, if you like this content and want more of this, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because that allows us to keep doing what we're doing. And tell me what you want to know, because trading is something I've got. The rest of this stuff, whatever. But trading, I can definitely help you, guide you with anything I'm familiar with. I'm definitely here to help. So hopefully these 4 hour public experiments are helping you. I hope you have a fantastic couple of weeks, and I will see you when I get back from Italy.